Hey everyone, my name's Amanda and I'm the Fun Size Reader, and I wanted to talk to you all about The Cruelest Mercy by Natalie May, which is the second book in the Kinder Poison series. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, The Kinder Poison came out last year, and I actually really liked this book. I recommended it as a book to binge after you finished reading Crush in one of my older videos, but I still wanted to kind of talk about it today, especially since the second book came out, since it was a sequel and never really got its own video. So here we go. The Kinder Poison is really good. I highly recommend this for people who love fantasy. This is a book that I wasn't really expecting. I think the cover is beautiful and it kind of draws you in to pick it up and want to read it, but I can't even describe to you how good this book is. So it's about this girl named Zahru, and she is in a position of lower power in this fantastical kingdom that she lives in. So in this kingdom, there's different hierarchies of power, and she kind of has the lowest one, even though below her are the people with absolutely no magic whatsoever. So because of this, she kind of lives a regular life. She's not in the limelight of the powerful people that are connected to the crown. And her friend decide that they want to sneak into a party that is being held by the crown for the crossing, which is this competition between the heirs to the throne, where they basically have to complete the crossing through the desert and complete a blood sacrifice to be able to be chosen by the gods to rule the country. Zahru and her friend sneak into this party, and Zahru is mistakenly made the blood sacrifice. And so she now has to go on this crossing with the three royals who are competing to kill each other to kill her also. It is so good. If you haven't picked it up already, I would definitely recommend doing that. It was kind of unexpected, like I said before, that I loved it so much. But if you haven't, read this one yet, you don't want to hear about The Cruelest Mercy, because that's book 2, so there's going to be major spoilers. The Cruelest Mercy actually came out this week. It was released and I received this copy from Penguin Teen, so thank you so much for this finished copy so that I could bust through it, because that's pretty much what I did. I stayed in bed all day one day and just read the whole book. It was a really good continuation of The Kinder Poison. I think The Cruelest Mercy was a little bit different than The Kinder Poison, because The Kinder Poison was very action-packed and twisty, and you didn't know who to trust. And I think The Cruelest Mercy picks up on that, but there's a lot of differences. The story kind of mainly takes place in the kingdom, but that manipulation and not knowing who to trust and trying to figure things out is still really prevalent in this book. One of the things that I thought was really interesting was that I kind of started to hate Zahru by the end of this book. And I don't know if I'm alone in that. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, if you really loved her, or you really hated her, or kind of what you thought about the characters in general, because I feel like my views from the first book kind of completely changed in this book, because I know Zahru kept saying things like she felt like she was a villain by the end, and I kind of agreed with her. I kind of felt like the things that she was doing were villainous. Like, she was becoming a villain. She was being manipulative and doing everything that Kasta did to her in the first book that we ended up hating him for. And so I actually kind of ended up liking Kasta at the end of this book. And so I don't know what team I'm on. Penguin Teen keeps posting, are you team Kasta, are you team Jet? And I can't decide. Like, I didn't really like Jet in this book, but I loved him in The Kinder Poison. But I didn't really like Zahru either. And so I started to kind of like Kasta a little bit more. And I felt like Kasta, my view on him, I equate him to the Darkling in my mind, where you kind of, like, from Shadow and Bone, where you kind of love the Darkling and you know you shouldn't, because you're like, this is the bad guy. We don't like him, but I do kind of like him. And so that's how I felt Kasta was in this book and the last one. That you're not supposed to like him, but you kind of do. So I don't know. I have not picked a team. Tell me whether you are Team Jet or Team Kasta. I'm kind of leaning towards Team Kasta because I did not like how Jet was in this book. And I think that in the next book, because of course there's, you know, we left off at kind of a drop-off point, that there's going to be more to his emotions and feelings that Zahru wasn't really connecting with in the next book. Like, I think there's more manipulation and control going on there. All in all, this I think is a really, really good fantasy series for people who aren't really super fantasy readers, because I think there's a lot of other themes like manipulation and being a traitor and all of that political fighting that's going on in the book, that's in addition to the magic aspect. So I think it's really, really good for people who are trying to get into fantasy, that really want to dip their toes in, and I think the world building is great, and I think it's just such a different story that it's really entertaining. So if you haven't picked up The Kinder Poison and then pick up The Cruelest Mercy, definitely check them out because I highly recommend them. Don't forget to leave me a comment below and tell me whether you are Team Jet or Team Kasta, and tell me what you think about Zahru in this most recent book. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. You can find me also on Instagram at The Fun Size Reader, on Facebook at The Fun Size Reader, and on Twitter at Fun Size Reader. Bye! See you next time.